This was supposed to be the moment to announce the biggest trade deal in history. The summit in Hawaii lasted 4 days, but overall, Trans-Pacific Partnership negotiations have been going on for more than 5 years. The ministers' claims of meaningful progress rang hollow. This was certainly anticipated to be the make or break summit for these talks. Are you therefore disappointed that you're not able to announce at least a deal in principle?
There are, of course, at the end of the day, a limited number of difficult issues that require additional attention to be resolved. But I feel very gratified about the progress that's been made.
Each country had its own priorities. For Australia and New Zealand, it was access to markets for their agriculture. For Vietnam, clothing. For Japan and Mexico, their motor industries.
I'm sure that you are aware that the auto industry in Mexico is the 7th largest producer in the world and the 4th largest exporter. So obviously Mexico has a deep interest in autos. So probably what you can accuse me is putting myself to the front to really push the interest of my country.
With a deal as complex as the TPP, deadlock in one area prevented progress in others. Tariff reductions for specific industries exporting from specific countries were in play alongside general discussions on common regulations, not just for trade but also for production. And that's where critics were concerned, that ministers would concede on environmental standards or labour regulations if they got their way on tariff reductions, that big business would be given more power over consumers. The proposed lengthening of copyright periods for medicines, banning generic drugs for competing with brand names for longer, concerned those who said the world's poorest couldn't pay higher costs. With no deal, campaigners are celebrating.
For us, this is a victory. What we've seen is several countries, Australia comes to mind, standing up and saying we're not going to trade away health this week, no matter how hard you lean on us. And that makes a big difference for everyone. So I'm very glad to see that outcome.
The start of the US presidential campaign, effectively January, is an unofficial deadline for the TPP. Any in-principle deal needs to be ratified by national governments and by the US Congress before then. Without President Obama pushing it, momentum could disappear. So no deal reached here in Hawaii, undoubtedly some disappointment on the stage with the ministers. There is no date set yet either for further talks, but the ministers say